y'all, and welcome to another Bossy Brushstrokes YouTube video. I am so excited to do this video today because I'm going to take you through the beginning of sketching this quote all the way down to the final piece that you've probably already seen posted on my Instagram. This quote is from Lady Boss Lettering. You can find us at Lady Boss Lettering or using the hashtag Lady Boss Lettering on Instagram. We also have a private Facebook group full of ladies who believe in community over competition and look to inspire and empower one another in the lettering community. If that's something that interests you, I'll leave a link in the description box below. I am so excited about this lettering challenge. It is MJ Creative Co. on Instagram and I's love child, and we are so proud of it, and we're so proud to be a group filled with women just like us. So if you're interested in joining the group, again, those links will be in the description box below, or join us on Instagram by following the account or using the hashtag. And if you're interested in how I created this piece, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Just keep on watching. Okay, so to get us started, I have a square size canvas pulled up in my Procreate application. For those who are wondering, if you're wondering, this is the 10.5-inch iPad Pro with a matte screen protector on it, and this is my Apple Pencil with a grip, a silicone grip on it. And I've already made a blog post on my website that has links to the things that I really love for my iPad lettering, as well as one for real lettering, and I'll put links in the description box below to both of those in case you're interested in the products I like. So to get us started, like I said, I have this square size canvas pulled up, and off to the side where you can't see it, I also have already written just on an index card the quote. And in my normal life, if I wasn't doing this on a video, a lot of times I'll write it in very small and just move it to the very bottom of my screen so that way I won't forget the quote I'm lettering as I'm lettering it, or I'll have it on my phone and have my phone off to the side. Obviously, it depends how long of a quote you're doing, whether you need to do that or not, or if you have a better memory than I do, I guess. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. For the sketching, I'm going to be using the 6B pencil, but I've actually duplicated it. And if you're looking to duplicate anything, all you do is swipe, and it's that second option right there. All I've done is turn up the streamline to 89.5%. If you have not seen previous videos about Procreate, or you're new and maybe you're just unfamiliar, streamline really helps make your lettering, well, streamlined. It just helps you get consistent strokes and nice, pretty smooth lettering. I'll use the regular 6B pencil just so you can see it without streamlining on, and you can see the lines are not smooth, they're pretty jagged, obviously not what you want. This is what you want. Most of the time when I use brushes, I have it set at 100%, but for the pencils and for sketching, I find that a little less works better because most of the time I'm doing it quickly. I don't need it to be perfect. So again, just a little less works best for me, but do what works best for you. I also am kind of bad sometimes about always sketching my quotes. It really depends, and I think it's just personal preference. Again, especially if there's a longer quote, I'll always sketch it because I need to figure out where the words are going to be on the canvas. But when it's a shorter quote, a lot of times I'll just kind of sketch, but using the brush I'm using to do the lettering. And I'll just keep going in and doing different layers until I'm happy. I think that's something we kind of tend to forget on our lettering journeys is how much work goes into a piece. So, you know, not everybody gets that perfect piece on the first try, and that's really important to kind of remind yourself if you're just starting out that, you know, you're gonna have to do it 3, 4, 5, maybe even more times. Sometimes you get lucky on that first one, but I'm telling you, it doesn't happen often enough. A lot of work goes into these pieces that you see, so don't get caught up in comparing yourself, because remember, everybody's in a different chapter, and you have to be a beginner if you ever want to be an expert, so just take your time and keep working. Okay, so when I letter quotes, I kind of look at the length of the quote first to see how I want to set it up. So this quote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is 12 words long. So the general consensus from that could be, you know, 6 rows of 2 words, or 4 rows of 3, or 3 rows of 4, because you want to get something, you know, that is kind of in the middle of your lettering. You know, you want something that will look good and cohesive and just look nice on the paper, which can be a lot harder, at least for me, with longer quotes. So that's just kind of a little tip I would share, is kind of look at how long it is and kind of do a little bit of math, as much as I hate it, and kind of be able to figure out what would look nice. But I know for this quote that I want failure to failure to be in one line, because I think that's the most important part of the quote in my eyes. So I'll have to do a little bit of finagling, but let's just start with the sketch and jump right in, because I think I've been talking long enough. So we'll start off with the beginning of the quote, which is success and I'm already going to be running out of room, so let's start over and write a little smaller. I really struggle with that. I don't know if you guys struggle with lettering tiny, but that is something I definitely struggle with sometimes. I always start off so much bigger than I need to. Okay, success consists of, I'm going to put going from a little bit towards the middle, because the next words are failure to failure, and like I said, I want those to be on the same line. And again, this is just the sketch, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to set up, you know, the words where I want them. And I'm going to go ahead and lasso this. If you didn't know about that tool, it is super helpful, you know, when you're doing a sketch like this, because then you can move things around. I'm just going to try and center it a little better. Although I'm terrible at that too. I wish Procreate had, you know, centering guides outside of just putting a grid on top of your lettering, which is an option too if that works for you. Okay, so success consists from, oh, well, I forgot the word of, so that would help, right? So I'm going to go back and lasso this and add in of. See, guys, I just want this video to be raw and real for y'all. I've got it written in front of me and I still forgot a word. Okay, success consists of going from, and then like I said, I want failure to failure to be on the same line. All right, that's good enough for now. And then without loss of enthusiasm. Obviously, enthusiasm is a pretty long word, so let's see. We can try it. I'm going to go ahead and do a new layer because I'm kind of unsure about where I want to put these words, and that'll make it a little easier to lasso without having to go up and down too much. Let's see, without. We'll do loss. And then we'll do of enthusiasm. Okay, so I'm actually pretty happy with this. I'm going to bring these down just a little bit to get the spacing a little bit more even with what's going on up top. And then I'm going to lasso this of enthusiasm and just center it a little better. Okay, that looks pretty good. We could bring them both, if you want to select both layers pretty easily, you can just kind of go like that. It'll select both of them. Kind of move it up just a little bit. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to merge the two layers together, which you can do just by pinching. Sometimes it takes a few tries, depending. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to turn the opacity down. Now, something to keep in mind, and that's what I really like about lettering the sketch, is that you can kind of see, you know, where some letters are going to come down, where other ones come up. And that's something I struggle with because, as you can see from just the S's and the F's and the G's, I bring things down pretty far when they've got a little swoosh. And that's a struggle when there's letters like T right here underneath this G. And for example, I'm noticing as I'm staring at it, this failure is a little bit longer than this failure. And consistent spacing, again, like I don't really think there's a secret. If there is, I haven't found it yet, but if I do, I'll share it with you guys. To getting that spacing perfect, it's kind of just about doing these sketches and figuring things out as you kind of go along. So let's see. I'm gonna turn the opacity down just a little bit more. And I'm gonna go ahead and go in and grab the Bossy brush from my brush set, which is available for purchase on my website, and I'll have a link to that in the description box below as well. And I'm just gonna go in and start tracing my lettering. Now, something that I am going to do on this one is put every line of lettering on a different layer, and that just makes it a lot easier when you've got to move things around, or at least to me, because then, you know, you're not super worried. When you're lassoing with the sketch, you're not worried about kind of cutting off the bottoms of letters if things get too close. But obviously that is something that kind of concerns me when I'm actually lettering, because you don't want to go in and do another layer just because you've got to move something. And something I'm already noticing about this layer is that it's a little tilted, which happens because I like to have this tilted when I do letter, and obviously I'm at a little bit of a different angle when I film this video versus how I would actually be lettering. So I'm just going to turn it just slightly so it's a little more straight, and that looks good to me. I'm going to come in here and do another layer. Okay, now originally I forgot to add in this of, so the spacing is not perfect. And I'm noticing already that of is a little too high because then going will clash with that S. So let me hit back. We can undo that. Go a little lower. I don't like that G. Okay. Still not happy with that G. Let's see. Okay, that's better. And as you can see, you know, my lettering doesn't line up exactly with that guide. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and grab this layer and just push it over just a little bit so I can fit that from in a little better. And that's okay, because again, all you're doing with that sketch is kind of giving yourself a guideline. And then when you come in here with the lettering brush, which is obviously a little thicker than the pencil, you're able to kind of get a better idea of the spacing. Like I'm going to go ahead and grab this going and move it over. And again, because everything's on a different layer, you know, you can kind of go up and around and you don't have to worry about chopping off that S. So that's super nice. And let's see, I think that O is a little too big. So I'm actually going to come in here and erase of and go ahead and redo that to kind of get it to be a better size compared to the rest. And that's something I really like. I am happy with that. So let's go on to the next layer, which is going to cause me a problem because you can already see how this L with that F and that G. Let's see. Let's actually come back here to this layer and scoot this over a little since we have room. Scoot it up just a hair. We can scoot the success up as well so it's not too close. Maybe scoot this up a little bit more. Okay, now let's do failure. And like I noticed in the sketch, this failure, you want them to kind of be a similar spacing. You don't want one to be too much bigger than the other. So again, the whole piece kind of can look cohesive. See, and that failure smushed too. Okay, I'm gonna delete that layer, come back in. Again, this is all about trial and error, you guys. I'm telling you, you never, well, not never, you almost never get it right on the first try. So just keep that in mind. Lots of layers are your friend on Procreate. I'm still gonna be running out of room. Okay. Okay, I'm a lot happier with that because this one's still a little weird compared to this one, but I'm gonna go with it because I think that's good and nothing can ever be perfect. And let's see. Now, we can actually bring that layer down a little bit now that I'm looking, because with our sketch underneath, we don't have letters that are coming too close to it. I'm gonna go ahead and move that over just a hair. Come in here and do that loss. Okay, and now that I've got that without loss, I think that this failure to failure actually needs to move back up a little bit. Just because those are a little bit bigger, I had to do those failure to failure a little smaller. We'll come in here and do of enthusiasm. I can move that over a little bit to center it a little better. Okay, I'm gonna hide my sketch so we can get a better look at just the lettering. Okay, I think the of enthusiasm can definitely move down a little bit. And if you didn't know, down here you have freeform and magnetic. When you have magnetic, you get these lines. You can kind of see how it lines up with how you originally had it. And freeform, those lines don't exist and it doesn't lock into place, so you have a little bit more of freedom. You can put it anywhere. I'm going to bring without loss down a little bit as well. Just a hair. I think of enthusiasm still needs to come down a little more, probably just because I moved that other one down. And I'm pretty happy with that, you guys. I think that looks pretty good. I'm actually going to come in here and delete the sketch layer because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to merge all of these together. And I'm actually going to shrink the size just a little bit because I am planning to put this on Instagram and I don't necessarily want this to touch all the way to the edge. I kind of want it to be centered a little better. But that looks good. If you've already seen my previous video on shadowing, you know how to do this, but I'll talk you through it since I'm doing it anyway. All you have to do to create a little shadow under this lettering is duplicate the layer, come down to the bottom layer, select this cursor, kind of move it a little bit. I like to move it before sometimes just so that way I've got a better idea of how much I want to blur it with this Gaussian blur tool. So again, I'm just coming in with that Gaussian blur. You can just hit that magic wand. See, I've got this at 11.7. That looks good. I'm going to bring this opacity down. And that just adds a little, a little spruce of something to that, so it's not just a plain black and white picture. I'm also going to change the background color. So I'm going to come in here to the color, and I've downloaded a ton of palettes. I've made them myself. I've downloaded a lot off of the Procreate forums. A lot of people have already come and done all the hard work for you, and it's super, super nice to be able to come in here and just scroll through and find a color you kind of like and then play with it at the bottom at the values or the disc if that's how you prefer. So if you haven't been on the Procreate forum to get palettes, I would definitely recommend it, or swatches as they call them. They're super helpful. And especially for me, I really struggle with color palettes. So having something like this is super helpful, or going onto Pinterest and finding color palettes and then kind of creating my own palette off of that. For this, I think I want to do like a lighter blue background, and I'm going to come in here and play with the values a little bit because I want it a little lighter than that, but also think I want it a little darker of a blue, but still a light color, if that makes sense. And I like that a lot. I want to really emphasize the failure to failure, so I'm actually going to come in here and create a new layer above those layers. I'm going to go into inking. I'm going to go into my gel pen edit, which again, all I've done is turn the streamline up to max on that as an edit. And I'm going to change my color to white. And I'm actually just gonna create a little highlight on all of these letters. What I like to do is just do a line and a dot. Let me do that a little better. And then 2 dots. I don't know why, I like that better than just a plain line. And I'm gonna undo those real quick and bring this all the way down since failure to failure is a little smaller. And as you can see, you don't have to be super neat with it because, again, like it's zoomed out on Instagram, you can't see it, it just adds a little touch. And you don't have to do the dots, obviously, that's just something that I do because, I don't know, I like it. And a lot of these you could put, like actually I think that O, I think I'm gonna put the highlight over here. And you could even highlight all of these, you know, you could highlight over here and, you know, where it comes off on the end, how I do my lettering. You could highlight all of that. I don't really waste that much time with it because like I said, this is just the look I prefer, but there's so many things you can do just to add a little pizzazz or however you want to call it to your lettering. And the reason I use the gel pen edit is because it gets a lot smaller than the monoline and is better, again, just for these smaller pieces. Like in a bigger piece, you could use this for the monoline. But now you can see just from above, you know, you've got that little shine on the failure to failure, and it kind of draws your eyes into that, I think, but still keeps the whole quote cohesive and really nice. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm sure I've already posted this on Instagram by the time you're seeing it. So I'm sorry for such a long video, but I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I know I really love to watch videos like this. And if you do this quote or you get involved with Lady Boss Lettering, don't forget to tag myself and MJ Creative Co. and at Lady Boss Lettering and using the hashtag Lady Boss Lettering. We would be super happy. We've already been so overwhelmed with how many of y'all have participated so far, and I'm just so excited to see our little love child blossom. And again, it's just really nice to have a group of ladies who all want to inspire and empower each other, and it's just been really, really great. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and don't forget, stay bossy, y'all.